Mahomes now the MVP favorite, and the Chiefs now have the second best Super Bowl odds.
Best in some shops.
In some shops, the absolute best. Some places overseas.
Yeah, and domestic.
Offshore.
Oh, I can't start this with you again. Let's just keep going.
You don't have to, you know what I mean? You go line shopping. Next thing you know, Nick's taking a vacation in Bermuda. Flying with cash. Hey, TSA, why don't you check the backpack?
What are you doing?
How much are we allowed to bring over? I'm just saying.
What are you doing?
Well, it's a patriotic thing. It's a tax.
Okay, can we do the show?
Sorry, are you buying the Chiefs are all the way back?
They're so back. And everybody knows they're back. And there's soft data and hard data. The soft data are things like University of Texas El Paso coming out with a peer-reviewed study, allegedly, that turns out the NFL's been rigging things for the Chiefs.
I saw that.
Dating back to the final 3 years of Alex Smith being the quarterback. Ooh. Like, nothing screamed ratings bonanza than Alex Smith throwing screen passes in 2015. That's
Love
a study.
Missouri. Missouri, really.
It's just, there's that. The complaining from the opposition. And then the hard data, which is Mahomes is back to being Mahomes. And again, you guys don't have to love the tackle that turned the tide. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is, since that Giants game, he is 4 touchdowns, 2 out of 3 games after doing it 0 in the previous 28.
4 total touchdowns after the tackle turned the tide?
In 2 of the 3 games.
Wow.
No, yeah, exactly. Thank you, KW. The team is scoring 30. Seemingly it will once again after doing it once in the previous 28 games. Or that's the 124 rating, pardon me. And then the 30 is they've done it almost as many times in the last 3 games as they did in the previous 28. And they are only going to be getting better. Because now, for the first Sunday will be the first time ever that they're, in theory, top 3 receivers. Hollywood, who I don't think is top 3 receiver on the team anymore. But him, Rishi, and Xavier are on the field at the same time. And most importantly, Coach, Juju, who's been really good for him. Rishi is going to take over that role. And you're going to have Rishi and Travis Kelce patrolling the intermediate with Xavier and Taikwam Thornton making defenses respect the deep ball. And with Mahomes trusting his protection, which you saw their backup left tackle have a good game last week. I just don't know why the Chiefs aren't the scariest offense in the league again, which makes them the scariest team in the league again.
Okay. Well, there's good news. Kansas City's 11th in points per game defensively. That's good. They're 9th in points per game offensively. Good on the giveaway.
What about post-tackle return the tide?
Yeah, good on giveaway takeaway ratio. That's positive. Mahomes is trending in the right direction in a bunch of categories, whether it's TD percentage, interception percentage, sacks are down a little bit. So his quarterback rating is actually up 6 points from what it was the last 2 years. So all those things are really good. But we're forgetting now, a week ago, they had 13 penalties. Right. They had a turnover. They lost the game. That was problematic. And they've only beaten 1 winning team. So I don't know if I'm ready to march down the street shouting how the Chiefs are back and the scariest team in the league when a week ago they were sloppy, they were undisciplined, and they lost. And they've beaten 1 team with a winning record. So how are they back?
Because here's the problem, Coach. And that
because Rishi Rice is back?
No, okay. That's not it. That's not it at all.
Right.
But because here's the problem. Because your heart's not really in it. Because if I were to ask you, who is the scariest team in the AFC right now? I'll just say the AFC. Who would you say?
Well, you have to give it to the quarterback who is the best quarterback.
Thank you. I told you your heart's not in it.
Justin Herbert.
Okay, yeah, your heart's not in it. The season-long numbers, Brew, to me, are kind of meaningless because.
But Nick, how are you ignoring the week before?
No, I say because here's the thing.
Disregarding
the tackle that turned the tide. Like I said, I'm not convinced that the juke move that. I can't remember the guy's name from Jacksonville put on Mahomes after in the pick 6, the 99-yarder. That didn't erase the impact of the tackle that turned the tide.
That was a pretty good play.
That's what showed. Like, I will give you this: in big games, you trust them more than anybody. I mean, obviously from what they've done in the past, but this year, I mean, they did lose to Philadelphia. But outside of that, against, the Ravens, which was a big game,
yes,
they look great. Obviously,
Which
Detroit
it really wasn't in retrospect.
Well, I mean, at that time, Lamar was there.
Lamar was,
and I mean, the Ravens' defense is poor at this point. We'll see if last week carries over. But that was considered a big game. Detroit was a big game. So, and Mahomes, I don't think Mahomes is back yet to what I think he's going to get better. I think with Rishi, I think it'll probably take Rishi a couple games. But I guess what I'm saying is I think they will get better. I think that defense coach, which like you said is 11th in scoring defense, I think that's going to get better. They've been better than that the past few years. There's kind of been this feeling, I think, that one side of the ball for the Chiefs can be great and the other can be good enough. I think both sides, I think the offense can be great. The defense can get much better.
I actually don't think the defense is as good as that number suggests because they're playing such low possession games. So points per game, that is depressed because it's long possessions on both sides. I think the defense does need to get better, actually, particularly generating a pass rush with 4. But here is the reason the Jacksonville game isn't as disconcerting to me as it is to you. I have watched the Chiefs under Andy Reid for Mahomes' whole career. They are not going to be a highly penalized team. Like, that to me was aberrant, and they corrected it the next week. They lost that game because the greatest quarterback alive or playing today, I don't want to argue about Tom Brady, made a mistake that he makes once every couple of years. Didn't see a guy, and so like that, listen, that's on Patrick. It wasn't a fluke, it wasn't, I don't think that's...
It was also a really good defensive play.
It was great play, right, and the offense almost had 500 yards. Like, they moved the ball up and down the field. Now, that doesn't win you a football game, but giving you confidence that the Chiefs' offense is back to humming. To me, the Jacksonville game raised my confidence in that the Chiefs' offense's ability to move the ball, even though Patrick made the mistake and they committed a bunch of penalties. And you're judging them against their contemporaries. And in the NFL, this is
right now
there isn't a team you look at like, oh man, what are you going to do with those guys? Everybody thought it was Detroit. And then Detroit came to Arrowhead and left Arrowhead whining about bullying.
Well, yeah. So more on that story. Brian Branch, as correctly predicted by Brew, Classic One, suspended for 1 game for his post-game fracas. He's appealing, but right now he's slated to miss next week's tilt against Tampa Bay. Lions seem to be on tilt.
Yeah, good job.
Poker term.
Yep.
Here's Kirby Joseph on Mahomes, who had 4 touchdowns. Take a listen.
How difficult is it against Mahomes when you guys...
It ain't hard at all, bro. Don't even say it's difficult. It ain't hard. You gotta do our job.
Oh.
He also then, Coach, either tweeted or retweeted 24 things whining about the officiating. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes, 22 for 30, 257 yards, 3 TDs, and a rushing TD. So what was it? That stuff's
not hard.
Not hard. So if that's not hard and this is the result, what's going to happen when it is hard? And I have a real problem with minimizing what Mahomes did and to try to put it into a context of this isn't hard and disregarding the problems that you have, because to me, then you're not going back into the film room and back to the next week of practice and really trying to dial in on what needs to be fixed if you're just disregarding it as it was fluky or it's not that becomes a real problem because you start overlooking stuff that now shows up week in and week out.
Well, Branch did a similar thing. He said, we beat ourselves. We beat ourselves. So, look, I want to say different teams and different players react differently to losses or whatever, but this does feel like a team being frazzled. And it reminds me of the Ravens. Like, clearly we see the Ravens knowing their SBOB, knowing that the Chiefs have been their kryptonite, and when they play them, or, you know, whether it was the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties a few years ago in the AFC Championship game, but they just seem to get flustered and so upset when they lose to them. That's what I saw. Now, I think the Bills, even though they're SBOB, I think they've handled things pretty well. There's some other, Philadelphia, we know they have their issues, but they seem to be, you know, fairly even keeled with losses like this. This just felt like a team that knows it's under the gun to win the Super Bowl and wanted to come out and make a statement and wasn't able to do it, and they didn't react maturely.
Yeah, I'm surprised this game tilted they're all pro safeties the way it did. I mean, Kirby Joseph was first-team All-Pro last year. Brian Branch is a great player. The Lions came into that game on the longest winning streak in football. I know you guys mentioned it yesterday. I think this game's in the balance. Amon-Ra St. Brown has his first drop in literally 2 years. First drop in 2 years, and the game is kind of played on the Chiefs' terms from thereafter. To not just take your loss like a pro.
Yeah, we'll get better.
They're a great team. They're better than their record suggests. That's why they've been to all these Super Bowls. We'll see them in February, maybe. Like that, and Dan Campbell did that. Like Dan Campbell, I thought after the game, he was like, I love Brian Branch. This isn't who we are. Dan Campbell, I thought, had great leadership. But I thought from the end of the game, Coach, worried me. And I'm going to keep harping on this. Their identity is toughness. It is the opening drive. You have a 9-minute smash-mouth opening drive. You have 4th and goal from the 6-inch line. And you don't trust David Montgomery. Instead, you ask Jared. The first play, remember, was going to be a Jared Goff rollout. Dan Campbell called timeout. The Chiefs had that one dead to rights. And then they decide we're going to have Jared Goff go try to catch a pass.
They are a cute team, though. Yeah. They like to be cute.
I just don't think that was, I guess, the time and place for it. 4th down on the opening drive. It just seemed anti their identity of who they're trying to be.
Yeah, and I think the anti their identity was across the board. So the comments are anti their identity. The lack of accountability was anti their identity. And the problem is the head coach is very consistent, and his messaging is consistent, but it didn't seem to carry over to the players. And in terms of that play calling, it is still a new offensive and defensive coordinator, and there is still going to be some times and big moments, especially like this, where maybe the coordinator that was with him in the past, that they had shared those moments, would have gone to Montgomery, where Johnny Morton's still feeling his way, and hopefully he's learned from that and stays more consistent with their identity.
Do you think the coordinator in their past would have known the rule?
I don't think that falls purely on the coordinator. I think that's coordinator, head coach. That's a group effort.
Lions, Tampa Bay. It's
a big game for Brian Branch to be out.
Yeah.
For Brian Branch to be out,
especially with all the other injuries too.
Yeah, they've got 3
coming up next, a little baseball-laden episode of Weird and Wonderful, and are the
Coach,
Dolphins.
what's up, man?
What's
up with your boys?
This is when we get the Weird and Wonderful.
And Blake Snell with an all-time game.
He's really good.
All-time game that